Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing how everyone can be their own content creator for their brand. We're going to be discussing how to create your own brand, how to make it go viral, and the best way to edit your content. So welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
All right. Woohoo. One of my favorite people are going to be on today. So we're going to be discussing how everyone can be their own content creator for their brand. Our guest started her career writing product descriptions for her brother's flooring store and later founded Empowery e-commerce cooperative in 2017. She transitioned from e-commerce to viral content creation, landing features in major publications like People's Magazine and Newsweek. Now she's using her platform to promote healthy, organic alternatives through TikTok Shop. And I'm talking about Melissa Simonson, and she'll be here shortly. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor.
Start, scale, exit, repeat. I'm Colin C. Campbell, and I've started over a dozen multi-million-dollar companies in the last 30 years. I spent the last 10 years writing the book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, to figure out what it is that these serial entrepreneurs do over and over again. We interviewed over 200 people. We created 58 chapters, over 30 illustrations, 180 callouts, and we quite frankly made this book for the ADHD entrepreneur. It's been #1 on Amazon in 15 categories and has won 12 awards globally. Get your book today either on ebook, paperback, hardcover, or Audible on Amazon or your favorite bookstore.
You know, as he did that commercial just recently. And Kelsey, why don't you join me? And as soon as he did that, his book went #1 in 4 different categories. And then this is a pre-record. So I just finished my last podcast. I went over to my computer and I noticed that he was #1 in entrepreneur and I think it was small business, but 4 new categories. On top of that, he's got this. I don't know if you ordered this yet, but I ordered this. I wanted to see what it was like. I've read his book. It was awesome. And this is the workbook that goes with it. And so it's all digital as well as you can work right within it. But he's got all these custom GPTs that you can just click and it'll walk you through the process. So I don't know if you ordered it. I know that you were interested in it, but
yep. I have
cool.
Cool. Now.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And by the way, when Colin says, "Oh, I've done a few multi-million-dollar," he's talking multi-8-figure businesses, and not at the low end of the 8-figure. So yeah, he's quite the entrepreneur.
All right. Yes, he is definitely the real deal. So that book, if for our audio listeners, it's Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, which you can find on Kindle, Amazon. But welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Lunch with Norm podcast. We have a great guest today, and this is a pre-recorded episode, so you can put your questions in the comments. I'll be here live answering anything coming through, but I recommend going over to the WhatsApp group, sharing your questions there, and we can continue the conversation with this episode over there. And make sure you sign up for our newsletter. That's lwn.news, and you can check it out. We have a new
What was that again?
lwn.news. Did I?
Catchy name.
Yeah, it is nice and short. Yeah, so we send out an issue every Monday, so check that out. And I think that's it.
Okay. So, yeah, Kelsey already told you about our newsletter. We also have a couple of other channels that you can listen to. So podcast, newsletter, our WhatsApp group, and our Facebook group. So whatever you want, I think we got the content for you. And on top of that, not like that's not enough content, but Kevin King have teamed up, and we are publishing a new podcast called The Marketing Misfits. And this is where we go out all over the world and find marketers or entrepreneurs have succeeded with thinking outside of the box, just like Melissa's brother. So anyway, we won't talk about that one today. We'll talk about that on the Misfits. In fact, he was one of our first Misfits that we talked to. But now let's get into this. Sit back. Well, hold it. Before we sit back, how about if you have any questions or comments, throw them over in the comments section. And now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Where's Melissa?
I know her.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing so good. It's so good to see you.
You too. You know, you have been, this is a repeat guest on this podcast, but you're also a repeat guest on another podcast that we did. I Know This Guy.
Yes. Yeah.
And if anybody wants to know some really crazy stories about Melissa, you know, just go over to I Know This Guy. It was
that was a great
COVID.
episode.
It was a lot of fun. And I just keep thinking of you balancing on that chair and getting whacked by that one ceiling fan.
I know, man. That was wild. That was wild. I still have the scar.
Okay, so let's get into this. 1 second you're doing Empowery, which is, you know, great. I thought it was fantastic what you're doing over there. And then I find out that you're doing this thing on TikTok. So how did you get into that?
Yeah. You know, I felt like there was something more, you know, like I wasn't sure, like, it just felt like I wasn't exactly right in what I wanted to be doing forever. And like, I wanted to be helping people. I wanted to be somewhere in e-commerce probably. And I love product-based business and stuff. And I love e-commerce, but I didn't have a product that I loved. I just, and something about churning things out or white labeling stuff that's already out there, some of it just didn't sit right with me. So I felt like I could not be successful in the way that we're sort of like telling everyone, like, you can have a successful business doing this. And all of that is true. But I also didn't feel super good about some of that stuff because I'm a little bit against like way high consumerism and like, you know, stuff that I didn't allow myself to fully develop these ideas at that time. It was like, you know, it's all about, you know, traveling to China, figuring out how to get, you know, these kinds of products and stuff. And I realized I needed a much better, more defined version of this that fits me and that feels good and that is also in line with my values as I know them to be now. And so that involves much more of like, I do love product-based business. I do love, you know, sharing, you know, my stuff with the world and shipping stuff out and like listing stuff on TikTok Shop. But I want it to be something that's good for the world. I want it to like, not just any old product. So I started researching stuff that I was like, I'm just so fed up, dude. I'm so fed up with, you know, major companies like, you know, I don't know, Johnson & Johnson and P&G selling, you know, diapers, period products, lotions and stuff like that, that are full of like sodium lauryl sulfate and just this whole trash list of ingredients that are really bad for us. And they're allowed to sell it. And it's wild to me. And there's carcinogenic fragrances and stuff, and they can just put fragrance and they can sell it like that without listing the ingredients. And did you know that it's allowed? The FDA does not require period products to list all ingredients. So anything that they do list is voluntary. So wild.
You know, so, you know, I sell soap, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought soap was soap before I got into it, before I've
Right?
actually tried natural soap. I was in Hawaii and I talked to this artisan and bought some soap, tried it and went, wow, this is really different.
Different. Yeah.
Really different. And then I found out that most of the commercial soaps
Yeah.
aren't allowed to put soap. It's like McDonald's in their shakes. They're not allowed to put milk. Well, the same thing with you'll see that it's, you know, it'll just be like, I'm not going to say a brand.
Yeah.
Just imagine the one from Ireland or the one that's
Right.
like a bird. It doesn't say soap,
Yeah.
because they're not allowed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
wild.
I get where you're going.
Yeah. And I started looking around all this stuff in my house, and I mean, just it seemed like it was compounding on itself, this kind of direction that I started going toward. Like, I need better things in my home. I need better cleaning products. I need better, beauty products. I need to be feeding better things to my kids. And that's a whole lot all at once. But I felt like I couldn't stop. It was just like this train that kept going. And I feel like I've had this happen and this sort of realization multiple times in my lifetime, where then all of a sudden you have like everything in the world to worry about. It's literally everything you buy, consume, put in your mouth and on your body, from your clothes to your, shower ingredients to what you wash your clothes with. And that feels like too much. And so previously I would have that moment and I'd be like, I just can't worry about everything. And then I would just block it out and carry on with life, because we're kind of pushed into this consumer mentality of, just, buy this thing for zits, buy this thing for dry skin, buy this thing for whatever, so that you have specific things. And I realized, it would behoove me to learn what castor oil does, and the fact that castor oil itself can be used in soap and for, a host of different things. And that instead of having, a different product for everything, have certain ingredients that are good for so many things, and then find out how to use those and, how to incorporate those into our lives, and then using products that are made with those. So it kind of started to steamroll into making products for myself. And then I just thought it's really fun to put these in like dropper bottles and things, and get, labels and start making those. And so I'm still in the process of, going to farmers markets and then getting them listed on TikTok Shop, which is going to be a whole approval process and stuff. But I'm excited about it. It's the first time I've been excited to list a product, and it's multiple products. I've been testing out fragrances with essential oils. I've been just playing, and it's the most fun I've had. And it's just been like since February or March of this year that I kind of started doing that stuff, and my growth on TikTok exploded, because I was more leaning into the things that felt like honest truth to me, instead of what I felt like I should be saying or should be promoting.
I know we're both introverts.
Yeah.
And it's tough to do what we're doing right now, is just to sit here in front of a camera and talk.
Yeah.
I've had 600 episodes to practice, but yeah, we both are. So for you to become a content creator, how did you? I know you, and how did you do it? How did you come out of your shell?
Yeah, I had to block everyone I know.
Yeah. I noticed you weren't answering my messages.
Oh no! Is that really true?
No.
Oh, okay. No, I had to like block everyone on TikTok, because I needed to not have that take up mind space, to know that like the stuff that I'm posting is going to be seen, and that like, you have that moment that's like pre-success, and like people who know me and they've seen me on stages and they know I'm an international speaker, and they have like whatever version of me in their head that they're going with, to see someone back at sort of a starting point. To me, that was kind of a stumbling block. And it actually took me about 2 years of trying to get over that stumbling block, because I started trying to do like content creation stuff in 2022. But it wasn't until, do you remember in January when we were on the cruise and I spoke on Carlos's cruise about TikTok Shop and how exciting an opportunity that was? And it was after that, because in my presentation, I was like, it's a great area in TikTok Shop where you can connect with content creators and have them help you and promote your products. And they have an affiliate center and everything. And I was really excited about that feature. I never expected to be the one who would be putting out the content, for the reasons you described, like being an introvert and stuff like that. And it was finally where I kind of had to take these moments where I accepted that not everyone is going to understand you fully, and that there's the version of you that lives on the internet and the version of you that lives in reality. Because even your friends and your family don't really know like the full version of you. It's just impossible really to know people that well, unless it's your husband or your wife or your kids or like your immediate circle. And so I think it's just something you have to kind of come to grips with, I guess, is like people are going to misunderstand. And if that's true, that's okay. And then I'll put out another video and say, look, here's what I meant by it. And people who are like, I disagree with that, then that's okay too. And that's really, when you go, when you're pushing towards something, when you're moving towards something and you believe in something and you're willing to speak to that, you will always have people who say the opposite. And it's only when you are not in the in-between space of like waffling and like, oh yeah, everything's, great. I agree with everyone about everything all the time. Like there's no way for anyone to have passion there or for you to have passion. And so if you are speaking with passion, then people will passionately speak against you. And just understanding that comes with the territory made it much easier for me to finally be like, oh yeah, there's trolls. They suck. I'm going to just ignore them.
The way that I do it,
Tell me.
Kelsey doesn't let me see them.
Oh, that's so smart.
It bothers me so much.
Yeah.
That, he's removed. I guess I don't know how he did it, but I look at like, especially on YouTube, and it would crush me, you know, and then I just like, I can't look at any of that. So I don't watch anything that I do. I don't respond to anything. I don't look at nothing. And so that way I can just keep doing my content. And if I suck, then I suck. But
blissfully unaware is a real thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's a good strategy. And honestly, I do that with Instagram and YouTube for now. But I did take the time and the pain and anguish a little bit with my TikTok channel because I didn't know any better. I didn't know that you can like just ignore people who are mean. So I was like engaging and sort of like, trying to figure out like why they disagreed or what the deal was. And so then some who are just obviously there to be trolls, I would block. But then some I would do response videos, or I would do, stuff in the comment section. And I feel like because of the work that I put in there, I've built a pretty solid community on TikTok where I'm not as scared of the comments. So I actually do often go into the comments. I will not do that on Instagram. And if a video goes viral, over 1 million views, after a few days, I do not enter back into that comment section because it enters a lot more people than my community.
Right. And some of I know when I was more active with that, I would just get the questions. Like we would have somebody go in, look at the comments. And if there were any interesting comments, then none of the bad one. I didn't want, well, I guess I shouldn't even say that. I mean, if there was a legit comment, then I would be asked, here's 3 questions that came up. How do you respond to it?
Right.
And then I would, because, they're legit and you should engage.
Yeah.
But a lot of this stuff is just a bunch of crap. But now creating content, how often are you doing this? Like and let's talk about TikTok. I mean, this is where we're targeting today. So how often are you posting on TikTok?
I try to post every day. I've been kind of shifting because I started another channel. And what I realized, this is something that advice-wise is good for everyone to just be aware of. Everyone says niche down, and you have your thing that you talk about in your channel, and you can't, just talk about everything because then the algorithm doesn't know who to push your content out to. All of that is true. You can get away with about 2 different kinds of things on one channel. But beyond that, it's like TikTok itself doesn't know who to show your stuff to. And people don't know how to categorize you in their minds. Like I said, it's this version of you that's online. You're the shrinkflation girl, or you're the, right now I'm the period products girl because of all the news channel stuff. But they need to know like who you are to them right now in this moment watching your video. So that's it's important to do that. And so initially, when I was trying to figure this out, I had my first channel that started going viral because of shrinkflation and because of the background I have with marketing, butting heads with, the way that products are sold right now and how consumers are treated, honestly, how big companies treat their consumers and sort of take advantage with marketing. And I wanted to say the things that I know about like how you use marketing. And I think marketing can be used for good, by the way. And I think often it's used for evil. And so it's like, when someone says pure, that's meant to imply organic. And people do that on purpose. And when your packaging looks like this with a little, little twig or tree or something, that's meant to imply like unadulterated and like, really, really healthy. That does not mean that that is a healthy product. And so people need to just kind of be aware and ask more questions. Because that's the thing, when I was getting to this point many other times, and I was just like, I just can't worry about everything. I just got to carry on. And you have that cognitive dissonance of like, I know it's unhealthy, but I keep doing it. This doesn't feel good. I have to block this out. That's where it ends up for me, is like, I have to be able to choose a product and do research and find out that, okay, I'm choosing the healthy one, and not get knocked upside the head again by saying like, I thought this one was good. Like, it said pure, it said healthy. Look at the packaging. I felt like I was doing the right thing by my body and by, my family. And then it feels like constantly getting knocked upside the head. Like, that was a trick. Like, they made it look healthy, but yeah, actually that's super bad for you. And I've had it with having that happen over and over and over. And so I'm trying to let people know about that. And so this channel where I've been kind of talking about the marketing and how, companies are shrinking stuff down, and just like, let's open our eyes to how big companies are treating consumers. That is not necessarily the same place as, at the same audience as people who want to DIY everything. The people who are frustrated with purchases and with, how big corporations treat us is not necessarily someone who wants to make their own lotion or make candles or make soap, right? And so I had to create a different channel that was for like, okay, today we're making sour cream from scratch. Today we're making, baking powder. Did you know you could make that from scratch? I didn't know. And so as I learn things, I just do a video about it, because I am so excited to learn this stuff that I was like, man, there's so many times that I've had like a recipe and I'm like, dinner's ruined because I can't run to the store and I'm missing this one ingredient. And like, you literally probably have the stuff in your pantry to make it. You know what I mean? So like, learning that stuff is empowering for me. And I want to empower other people to be able to do that and say like, it's actually not hard to make a lotion. You can whip it up in your blender and have like a really healthy, awesome thing for yourself. And my main thing is that every product that I sell, I will be 100% transparent about, without worrying about the competition, because surely people will try to compete. Surely they will steal my recipes, but like, I'm going to give them out for free. I'm literally doing like how-to videos with every single product that I create that shows exactly which ingredients are going in it, because I feel like right now the public is so hungry for anything that is transparent. And you don't always have time to make things from scratch, but having stuff that you can buy that where the ingredients, every single ingredient was sourced from, and the thought and care that was taken into choosing each ingredient. And then be able to say like, okay, this time I'm going to order that, but I'm going to save this video because I think next time I'll have time to make it, Yeah.
And I think this is going down a different rabbit hole, but what do you think, or is this something that you do? Shrinkflation is a huge pet peeve for me.
Yeah, that's huge. How my channel first went viral.
So I would love to show and expose these companies.
Yes.
And thinking about it, I get a little nervous because these guys have a lot of money behind them.
Yeah.
But just for example, every day, Kelsey knows this, Monday through Friday. Kelsey, what do I have for lunch?
Grilled cheese sandwich and chunky Campbell soup.
100%. That's what I have.
I already know what shrunk. It's the soup, isn't it?
Well, the first thing is the cheese. You can't even take it out of the package without ripping it anymore because it's so thin.
Oh my gosh.
And if you want to pay double the price, you can go to their original size, right? Then the second part to this is the soup. So you'll get a beef soup that normally had beef in it. And I've had it where there was like 2 little pieces of beef, but it's still beef soup.
Right.
So there's stuff like that drive me crazy. I haven't had, so my wife goes out, Connie, Connie.
Yeah.
She went out and she got me some cookies. And I just went, I'm not supposed to have them. This is good. And I opened the package and I'm going, what the frig is this? They're about this big. And I'm going, Like they're half the size of what they were. Oreos. Like,
Oh my gosh, yes.
you know,
Yeah. I'm
You-
telling you, in my comment section, it is Oreos. Everyone's like, they're thinner, they're smaller, there's less cream. Like, there's so many ways that they have trashed Oreos from what they used to be.
but talk about your content. Like I
Yeah.
was thinking about that and just saying you could do something on this, but I could just see the lawsuits coming down.
So far I haven't been sued, and I've been talking about this stuff since February. So I expect
Oh.
it may happen at some point, but I'm hoping that I can earn enough on like TikTok to pay for the lawsuits. Because I'm not kidding. When I'm saying that I have been, like, my name has been in People magazine and Glamour magazine, it's not always nice. Like,
Yeah.
People magazine was trying to disprove what I was saying.
Yeah.
They were writing basically on behalf of Tampax to say, like, all these TikTokers are saying that, Tampax is shrinking their tampons, which is like super evil.
Oh, you're talking about those period products. I thought you were talking about 18th century
No.
history.
Oh no.
No,
No,
I know.
like-
I know.
I always believe you, Norm. So yeah, I was actually like written up in People and Newsweek. Well, Newsweek was actually a collaborative. They asked me interview questions and I answered. And so I don't think I've seen that article yet. That was just very recent. But People magazine and Glamour magazine, they're like, no, they haven't shrunk. And they weren't quoting Tampax, which is the hilarious thing. I'm sorry, I haven't really talked about like how to go viral yet, but like this is just so fun to talk to you about stuff. Well, so I didn't actually for the tampons, I was telling them, like, look, I think these changed somehow. They maybe shrunk, they maybe changed, the kind of thing that they're using. And so they went to Tampax, People and Glamour went to Tampax for a quote. P&G is who they're owned by. And the P&G spokesperson said the FDA hasn't changed the absorbency requirements in 30 years. And that is such a non-answer and red herring to throw out there to make you feel like, oh, this is all very official. And so, of course, everything must be fine. But they didn't actually say we didn't change anything. They didn't actually say we're not, using a different process. And what is wild to me is that these big corporations can just keep gaslighting consumers and saying, like, your experience using our product is irrelevant because we believe nothing is wrong. And to have literally thousands of women in my comments, and I'm not joking about that. I have several videos that are in the 12 million view range, in the 4 million view range. Like, I have several that are high up there. And in those comment sections, women are in there like, I thought there was something wrong with my body. Because I don't care if it is that they've shrunk or not. It is definitely true that they changed something because our human experience changed. And the absorbency test that has not changed in 30 years, which is a weird flex, by the way, and not a great one when it comes to like studying things for women, basically means that their test does not reflect the human experience. Because if their absorbency has not changed and ours has, their test is not at all viable. It's not at all reasonable. And it means they absolutely need to be polling their consumers, their customers, to say, hey, you've been a loyal customer since you were 12 years old and first started using these products. How is it now that we've changed this thing? That's how a good brand should be. And this is, I feel like it's a huge opportunity for small businesses,
So let's take it from there. So we've got a bunch of micro brands that are listening.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, how can that micro brand, first of all, feel comfortable creating their content,
Yeah.
and then taking that content and I guess possibly showing the brand who may have, well, let's go with that one first. How can the Amazon seller, how can the Amazon micro brand, first of all, get out of their skin and become a content creator?
I think you need to have some kind of group or something that helps you, like, especially if you're an introvert or something, you really have to kind of gear up and you have to have that encouragement. And so, like, with my family members, they're all like, oh, I keep posting and, I don't know that anyone's really seeing this. It's really frustrating. And it feels like it's this treadmill that I can't get off of. And just having like some feedback and being open to, criticism and trying different things, and getting some positive you know, feedback about like, just keep going. You know, I'm in it with you. We're doing this together. I know it sucks, but there has, you know, we've seen some success. So let's keep working on it. And let's keep changing it slightly to get there. I think you really need something like that to get over the scary part of it, you know, because it really, it took me long enough to where I could post consistently. It was almost immediate when I posted regularly that I went viral and started getting tens of thousands of followers. And I am nowhere near like, you know, 1 million followers or something like that. But starting in January on the cruise, not even trying to do my own content, to getting to 50,000 followers within a few short months is something that I didn't anticipate, and something I'm like, oh, wow, this is like actually cool. And I think that more people should look into this and see that it's not as, if I can do it, you can do it, basically, as an introvert.
Well, yeah, one of the other things too is region. So Kelsey and I were trying to do something. We're just not getting views. What's happening? We were talking to some other influencer friends of ours, and they said, well, you're in Canada.
Yeah.
And so what's going to do is going to promote in Canada, and then whoever likes you in the States then it'll start to spread. But you've got to, so it's very important that if you're doing this, either you're in the States or you have a VPN or something that shows you in the States. But that's one thing. And the other part to this is maybe you don't want to be the creator, but somebody can be the face of your company.
Right.
Like, you know, I have a face for radio. So this is not, or even my soap. I can't be my soap. My soap would be so not me.
Right.
You know, it's just, I'm not the brand.
Yeah.
So you go out and you get somebody that could be the face of your product, and that solves that problem. But what it doesn't solve is how do you take that? Oh, hold it. Let's, I'm just looking. Wow, time is flying whenever I talk
I know, every time.
So why don't we go, first of all, I guess it's Wheel of Kelsey time. So let's talk about the Wheel of Kelsey. So if you're listening, this is a pre-record. Usually we do this live, but today Melissa's got a great prize. And if you're interested in the prize, it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. Tag 2 people, you get a second entry. Melissa, what is the prize?
The prize is that you get to have a consultation with me where I will evaluate your social media, and I will give you some tips on how you might be able to take your content and go viral. Or if you haven't started doing content yet, we'll talk about, you know, what you'd like to put out there or what your product is, and I'll give you some tips and some hooks so that you can get started trying to put your stuff out there.
Very good. And we also have, we haven't, I guess, possibly we'll have that out in the comments section, but there's a 20% discount off of your course that you're bringing out a bit later on in the month.
Right. And that's for everyone. So October 2nd, I'm starting to do regular Wednesday meetings for a 6-week course talking about how you can get started for like intro 101 level content. And then for people who have gotten started, there's a Let's Go Viral add-on.
Okay, fantastic. So that's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. Tag 2 people, you'll get a second entry. Now, Kelsey, press the button.
Are you looking to quickly boost new Amazon product launches or scale up existing listings to reach first page positioning? The influencer program Stack Influence can help. Stack Influence pushes high volume external traffic sales to Amazon listings using micro influencers that you only have to pay with your product. They've also helped up-and-coming brands like Magic Spoon compete with Cheerios for top category positioning, while also helping Fortune 500 brands like Unilever launch their new products. And remember, September is one of the best times to get started with Stack Influence for preparation for October Prime Day and the holiday season. So sign up today at stackinfluence.com or click the link below and mention Norm, and you'll get 10% off your first campaign.
All right, great button pushing, Kelsey. Just want to let you know that. Okay, now let's talk about going viral.
Yes.
What makes, because the science behind this, is there a science or is it luck?
There is definitely luck. There's no doubt about it. There's sometimes that I'm like, this is gonna hit, and sometimes it just doesn't. But the thing is, knowing that it can be formulaic is really important
That's a big
to not
word.
giving up. Yeah. And that's important, right? Because it's the same as like sales, right? If you talk to enough people, you're gonna get a sale. And part of that is because you get better at sales as you keep talking to people and you start hitting more on what they're interested in. And it's the same with content. You get better the more you're putting out content. So it might not be good when you're first starting. You might not do great. And so then you're kind of having that critical voice where you're like, it's not good. Nobody's seeing it. But that's still valuable because the point is not to go viral with every video. The point is to put out the video that day. If the goal is I posted, it's sort of like, I don't know if you've ever heard those dating groups and stuff for guys where it's like, we're not out to get a number today.
Dating groups for guys.
Well, they'll do these groups where they say like, we're not trying to get a phone number. We're trying to get 5 rejections tonight. Go. And so they all go. And that means I've at least talked to someone to get to the point where I got that rejection. And that is, if that's your goal, then you can walk away successful instead of, feeling like a failure. And you really have to flip the script on yourself when you're getting started in the same way where you say, the point is not to go viral with this video or to sell 1,000 products. The point is to post this video today. And then you see how people react to it. And then you get more advice. And honestly, I took several courses when I first started getting interested in this because I was like, I don't think it's, luck completely. And there's weird algorithm changes that they make things a little more unpredictable, but it is definitely formulaic in the way that you can take a hook and a mechanism and you can predict that you'll go viral at least a few times a month. And that's not nothing.
And you just brought up a good point. It's important to understand. It's important that, there's a formula, there's some luck, but you have to understand. So you have to understand the rule to break a rule. And that's something, even with this new marketing misfits that we've brought out. Kevin King and I, we went to a podcast movement event because we want to understand, are we doing it right?
Mm-hmm.
Can we understand the rules to break the rules?
Yeah.
And then he went over to the Mr. Beast thing, VidCon, and same thing. Because we have to know as much as we can about the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know, and by the way, like just going to something like that, it's incredible.
Yeah, I was at this VidCon, dude. It was so good.
All I can compare it to is I used to take martial arts, and your white belt, nothing. When you're a green belt, you think you know everything and you should be a black belt until you hit a black belt and you know that your learning is just beginning.
Yeah, that's right.
It's so interesting. And that's how I feel. Like I think, all right, well, maybe I'm either a green belt. I'll know when I become a black belt. And then I understand I got so much more learning to do.
Right. It feels like the more you know, the less you know. Like, and I feel like that's true of like in life in general. Kids are like, I know everything. I've learned all this stuff now. And then like you get older and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know anything. And then you kind of pull back on I know everything about this, ideally. Like not everyone does, I guess. But yeah, I feel that way about content and about e-commerce and stuff. There's always more to learn.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
Things always keep changing as well,
Even now, like even more now. But the other thing that I think is really important, if you're trying to create your own content or if you got somebody doing it, or you're going viral, if you want to go viral, that formula, it probably starts out with don't change your personality.
Yes.
You
100%.
are that creator, right? And if you're trying to do or be somebody that you're not, like me, I know that I'm going to blow it half the time, and I just have this type of personality and you have a different personality and Kelsey has a different personality. Right. But if Kelsey tried to be me or I tried to be him, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You got to be yourself.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you hear all the time that it feels like it's so easy to say, but like, how do I do it? Because the second the camera turns on, I just get weird. And legitimately, I am that person. Like I have done that. And it took a lot, all the years of being with Empowery and speaking on stages and stuff to kind of get comfortable winging it without like having a pre-scripted thing and stuff like that. But, I do feel like the best explanation I can give for that of like what it means to just be yourself is, you have to actually get comfortable enough with yourself where you say like, my flaws are okay. It's okay that I haven't done my hair today. Because I'll tell you, one of the best pieces of content I've ever seen, and it sticks with me and that I remember, is, Elise Myers, who is wonderful. She's a TikTok content creator. She moved to YouTube, and I think she's just come back now to TikTok. But she was just always fully herself. She was just a little bit weird and a little bit introverted. And she was honestly saying like, I'm trying to work myself up to taking a shower today. And like, she was just having one of those days, and feeling like, it's been a few days, I need a shower. But I keep procrastinating this task. I know I'm going to love it when I get in the shower, but like, that's something that you probably don't want to admit. And when I say that there's an internet version of us and a realistic version of us, I am definitely not saying that you portray something that's not real, because it will not come across authentic. I'm saying that people are going to take away from what you put out there that is probably different than what you think they're going to take away. So you just have to accept that too. But saying like, I accept my flaws, that I didn't get dinner perfect tonight and I'm still posting because the point is to post. I didn't, everything didn't go right and I'm still posting and I'm still okay with me today. It's really important. You saying like, I'm not going to get all the words right. I'm going to stumble over things sometimes. And and that literally is part of your charm that people love so much about you, is that you are just you and you just say things
I'm
the
a
way you say
bumbler.
them. Yeah, it's fine.
I put my
like
foot
we
in my
love
mouth.
it.
Kelsey
I didn't
knows
say-
all about that.
Yeah, it's one of those things though that like you have things that we consider flaws, but other people actually find endearing, or they attribute it to like, oh, that's just this person. And you have to say that's okay. Like you have to decide that's okay, that those are parts of your personality and that you love you and that's just it,
Kels, where are you?
Yes.
So am I a bumbler?
You are a lovable big bumbler. Yes.
Yeah, you've never had to look at me because I put my foot in my mouth.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. All right. Just now back to Melissa.
Just fact checking a little bit.
Spot check. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. There's also editing these videos. So
Yeah.
You get a video, you shoot a video. How are you breaking up? How are you repurposing?
So I think if we're talking about people who are just like kind of overwhelmed with the idea of doing this, first, getting comfortable with yourself and saying like, okay, I'm just going to post and it's okay if I screw things up and I don't need everything pre-scripted. I'm just going to like wing it. And then you also need to take that attitude with you to like the editing process. I think it's really beneficial to say, I'm going to post one video a day, because that gives you a deadline that says like, I can't edit things to perfection because there's just not time for that, especially while you're learning. And so that means you can plan, you can say like, I'm going to talk about this thing today. Just make sure it's not fully scripted. And so then you get everything as best as you can in one take, so you don't have a ton of editing, and you can do it inside the TikTok app just to make things easy as you get started. Or you can use CapCut, which I think is super easy. And there's a desktop version and a phone version. And that's wonderful. Like both of those are super easy. And everything that people are talking about with like, oh, TikTok wants you to do it in their platform and Instagram wants you to do it in their platform. There are people who go viral on a regular basis who edit their videos outside of TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, all of those things, and they're going viral. So it's fine. Just, it's not the editing tool that you're using that's going to prevent you from going viral. So just use what you feel comfortable with. And if you want to get really good at editing and you don't want to pay a lot, use DaVinci Resolve. It's a desktop app. It's pretty easy to learn. I'm still like, there's a lot of stuff I don't know about it, but it is free. It is relatively easy. It's desktop. And so if you're looking to get into long form content on YouTube, that is a wonderful place to start.
Oh, great. I've never used it.
It's so good. It's my replacement for Photoshop, what's the Adobe one for video? I don't use it anymore. So I used to use like the big expensive one that was hundreds of dollars. I used to have it on multiple computers as well. And so I could edit on whatever computer I had. But there was a lot that I never found out about editing videos on that stuff because it's a huge tool and it's just not super necessary. And so I want people to know, like, just demystify that. It's not that hard. And I'm in my course, one of the first things I'm going to do is just show how you can just like start and stop and start and stop, because you can make it look like a continuous statement by saying like, today we're going to talk about, and then like you lose your mind for a second. That's okay. Just pause and then stop the video. Within the TikTok app, you can do this. You just stop it. And then you're like, what was I talking about? Making blah, blah, blah from scratch, right? And so then you just carry on. And so you can quickly edit out that little gap. And it is much easier if you're just doing a quick thing in TikTok. Whatever. Like when you're first getting started, if you're just using the TikTok editing, I really encourage people to not get overwhelmed by having to have a lot of software for that.
Yeah. I want to go back to something you said earlier, because the more you're talking about this, the more I'm going, oh, this is interesting. Kelsey's going to say, don't, Dad, don't do it. But you can, with TikTok, you won't wreck the algorithm if you're talking about, you know, you're done for use or your DIY compared to another topic, compared to another topic you might want to talk about. Is that correct?
Okay, so maybe I said that in a sort of confusing way because I tend to find a lot of rabbit trails as I talk. What I meant by that was actually you want to stick to a couple things. So like my original channel, I started out with shrinkflation, and I went into some other things that are like in the news about like corporations and like Boeing and some of the news that they've been in, stuff like that, and kind of just like calling out corporations because I feel like somebody needs to. So that's what my main channel stuff is about. And I realized that not everyone who is that audience and gets frustrated with those companies is also a DIY audience. So when I tried to post like, here's how you make, you know, lotion from scratch so that you don't have to rely on P&G or these other big corporations that we're all kind of frustrated with. Not everyone is the same that way. So they may be frustrated, but they don't necessarily, they're not ready to solve it yet. So I actually created a different channel that is just for like DIY stuff. And recently I started this within the last few weeks. It had about 20 followers. And then, you know, one of the things that I posted hit, and it overnight went from 20 followers to 5,000 followers almost. And so that's just how it happens. Sometimes you have to find what hits and then you lean in to what's working. And that's why you have to just keep posting until you find your audience.
I'd love to see the two different audiences or two different channels that you have.
Yeah.
And maybe you can give those to Kelsey and we can
post
it. Okay, great. And so that's not going to affect it. So like, for example, let's say that we have our soap channel, our natural soap channel. Then we have maybe do it yourself,
right?
You know, which we do in the blog. You know, we provide recipes.
Right.
But maybe I want to promote natural products. I was always afraid that if you do something like that, that you mix up the algorithm because it didn't know where to go. Right.
Yeah. So as long as you have the channels separate, it does not matter. Like I have one for juicing. I have one for my dog. My dog has a TikTok account. I have several channels. The two that I'm mainly working on and trying to build so that they can both pay out for content are my regular channel and my Handmade Happiness channel that I've shared with Kelsey. So you can have as many different topics as long as you have different accounts. And I want people to also know you don't have to worry. Like if you have just looked at a bunch of weird stuff and it has nothing to do with your audience, you don't have to worry. And maybe I should give additional context with that, because what you look at is also what TikTok thinks you want to share with the world. So weirdly, if like, let's say you sell car parts, I don't know. And so like, ideally you would only look at things that were related to like car mechanics and things like that, but you're just using this as like your playful, fun TikTok account. So you look at like dancing videos and you look at like recipe videos. So then that really does confuse TikTok's algorithm. So if you want to refocus and say, I'm actually going to take my 200 followers and I'm going to give this a go, you can reset everything. You can go into your TikTok settings and delete your cache. You can reset the algorithm and it will say, are you sure you want to do this? And then it asks you why. And you're like, I don't care why. To stop asking questions.
Yeah.
You just say like, I'm experimenting or something is one of the options. Just out of curiosity, I think was the answer. So you can select that and then it will reset and you'll have a lot of weird stuff that gets sent to you because it's like trying to relearn who you are. And it's that moment where you say, okay, I'm trying to be able to just share my car parts with the world. And so then you put in something you've previously already looked up, I hope, which is like some significant people in that industry so that you can just search for them and then follow them and then search for them and follow them so that only the people that you're following and only the content that you're starting to see come up will be the things that you also want to put out into the world. And that will really help TikTok's algorithm push your stuff out. And it will take less time for it to learn who you are.
You know, I've never watched a single TikTok video.
Are you kidding me right now?
Nope.
Wow.
Not a single one because, I thought, and I've done a lot of videos.
Yeah.
But I've never, ever, swiped. Never.
I think probably Steve is the same.
Yeah.
He gets irritated by TikTok because like it always has like music and talking and he's like, I can't.
Yeah. Now my wife's a different story,
Yeah.
She'll sit there and watch TikTok and watch her
Yeah.
golden retrievers. But yeah, I don't, it's like Alexa,
Yeah.
turning on and listening to everything I'm
Yeah.
doing. So I try to unplug that during the day too.
Yeah. That's
I'm an old
probably-
guy. I don't trust things.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, unless there's anything else, is there something we missed out on?
I don't know. Honestly, we had so much we were talking about. We talked about going viral. So, okay, let me just say a couple things to leave
Yep.
people with for going viral, because we talked about a lot of stuff and not all of it was like the meat of how you actually do it. It is formulaic. You can do it even if you are not like a typical content creator. And once you get past your stuff and start posting every day, that's really going to help the algorithm. You can reset your algorithm. That's really helpful. And I would say hooks are as important as people keep saying. They really are. And not only that, I want people to think of hooks as like a 5-part system. It is not just like make sure you have a hook, which is people kind of clock that as like within the first 5 seconds, say something interesting. That is not what a hook is. A hook is do something visually interesting, like take a drink or put on lip gloss while you say something interesting and have something in a text block that says what you're going to say.
So that's
Because-
kind of like your thumbnail on YouTube, right?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
that important.
It is that important. And it is also the same in that you need to visually understand what's going on and what you're agreeing to watch within milliseconds, the same way as that YouTube thumbnail. Like visually, it needs to kind of explain what's going to happen and what they're agreeing to watch. Because in the same way that your thumbnail, unless it's clickbait, is a virtual handshake with your viewer, that is true of your hook when you are doing a TikTok. So this handshake is really important. It either is going to leave people feeling like, oh, that's not what they ended up talking about at all. And like they feel like duped or, rude. Or you're going to say like the one that just got 700,000 views on my new channel was, we're going to make sour cream. And I said in the text block, 2-minute DIY sour cream. And then I was like doing something, pouring something, I think. So all of those things together. And then there's a few other things that you can add that are additional, but you should have 3 to 5 hooks in your hook. And I want people to know that it really is that important. And then, and here's the other thing. You need to have a hook to your hook, right? So think of it as in the milliseconds that people are deciding if they're going to swipe, they need to know what they're agreeing to watch. And so you're doing something visually interesting that hooks them in long enough to find out what they're going to see. So that's the visual interest where you're like putting on lip gloss or you're shaking something or whatever. That's where it's slightly interesting. And so their brain that's not actively thinking says, I'm willing to stick around for this. And then when you tell them what you're going to talk about, then they're actively deciding, yes, I'm going to stick around. But if they're not sure, this is where your caption comes into play, where I feel like us old fogies who are used to doing things on Facebook treat the caption like we treat a Facebook post. Like, just kind of summarize everything that we're talking about in the video. Do not do that. Please don't do that. What you need to do is treat your caption like the Hail Mary of, hey, they're checking over here to see what this video is about because they think they might be interested, but they're not sure. And whatever they see when they check over here to the caption is either going to save that person and have them watch and like and share or whatever, or it's going to have them swiping. So it needs to be something that keeps them intrigued, piques their curiosity, and doesn't give away the ending, but also doesn't frustrate them with, like, you know, clickbait stuff, right? So there's kind of an art to that as you kind of practice. One last thing, sorry, for the meat of it. So all of those things about going viral and practicing, obviously. And then the other thing is to look into mechanisms and just search for Jenny Hoya. I think Hoya. I'm sorry, that might be wrong. Wait, Jenny. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I'll try and get it to Kelsey later, but I think it's Jenny Hoya or something. Roja. Anyway, she's really good at talking about mechanisms where it's basically where you say, like, we're going to talk about 3 ways you can do this thing from scratch. And that's a mechanism because you don't want to skip to the end because you need 1 and 2 and 3. And if you skip, then you only get 1 and 3. It can be something that like Mr. Beast had a video where he's like closing the circle. So again, you want to see the whole thing. You're staying around for that entire mechanism. So what is your hook? What is your mechanism? And make sure that the verbal handshake that you're giving to people is accurate so they don't feel like it's clickbait.
You know, there are 2 books out there written by the same guy, and this is for business, but you can use it and apply it for TikTok as well. And that's Words That Sell and Phrases That Sell. And all you're doing is filling in the blanks. Yeah. And it's great. You can get it on Amazon. I have the paperback because I want to flip through the pages and it's just a pain on a digital version. But they're great for exactly what you're describing there.
Yeah.
What about timing? How long are there different times that you should be experimenting with?
Yeah, I would say like more recently. So back when I did the women's conference and I had, some, I had speakers who were like viral on TikTok at that moment. A lot of those videos at that time were going viral that were like 7 or 8 seconds long, and they would go on loop because then you would have a higher watch time because they'd be on repeat. So it'd be like a 200% watch time, which is really good. That is not working anymore for TikTok because they're actively pushing out content that is over a minute. So I would say shoot for 1 minute and 1 second. And TikTok is going to push that out more than others. Will not guarantee success, but neither will a short video. So you have a better chance if you do 1 minute and 1 second. If you go very long, you're always playing with fire. But frankly, some of the videos that I have 200,000, 700,000 views are 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
I just say what I want to say. And
would you have the short ones on one channel and the longer ones on a different?
I should. I'm literally trying to build my YouTube long form channel right now because I realize I'm very long-winded. So I should be doing that. What? But I'm on TikTok doing 7-minute videos and people are watching them.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think that's probably it. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
They can definitely do it through TikTok or Instagram. And Kelsey has my tags. Hopefully he'll put those below at Real Melissa Simo. And they can also reach out to me at my email, which is melissasnotes@gmail.com.
Oh, okay. You gave me a fake one.
I did?
That's okay.
Which one did I give you?
No, I'm joking.
Oh my gosh, I always
you know what?
believe you.
It's just like my high school days. I'm just used to that. But no, if you do have questions or comments, please reach out to Melissa. Melissa, are you in our WhatsApp group?
Yes, I am. I would
Perfect.
love
So
to answer any questions people drop in there.
perfect. Okay. So it's about that time. We got one sponsor left. And before we go to the sponsor, if you are just joining us, make sure you hashtag Wheel of Kelsey or tag two people. You'll get a second entry in our bonus gift today. It is a consulting. How long is the consultation?
It's a 30-minute consultation where I will go ahead of time and evaluate the social content. So I come in and just give you strict advice for the 30 minutes.
All right. Very good. Okay. Let's have the sponsor and then we'll go over to the wheel.
Hey, Amazon sellers, Hono Worldwide is having their grand opening of their brand new warehouse, and Hono's accepting new customers. This warehouse is located in Wind Gap, Pennsylvania, just 90 minutes from the New York-New Jersey ocean. It's perfect for sellers needing quick access to major shipping lanes, and this brand new warehouse has a capacity to store over 10,000 pallets. And it's perfect for warehousing, e-com order fulfillment, returns, and co-packing and kitting. Don't miss out. Secure your space and email Hono Worldwide today. Savings at honoworldwide.com, and Hono is spelled H-O-N-U. Don't forget to mention the Beard Guy sent you, and you'll get your first pallet stored for free for 1 year.
There we go. And we're back. Okay. So, Kelsey, it's the wheel.
That's right. Here we go. Here is the Wheel of Kelsey.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right, everyone. I'm going to just jump in here for a second and spin the Wheel of Kelsey. This was a pre-recorded episode, so thanks everyone for joining in. And let's see who today's winner is. Also, make sure you check out Melissa's 20% off discount for her viral course. You can email Melissa. All the information's in the comments. And it looks like our winner is Tony. So Tony, congratulations. Please email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com. And there's just a few minutes left of today's episode. So check it out. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching.
Woohoo!
All right. So by this time, there will be a winner announced. I'll be here
Yay!
live. So congratulations to whoever that is. I'm sure
I'm
I'll
so
be
excited to
saying-
meet you.
So we'll be connecting you with Melissa. Just email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com. And congratulations on your prize.
All right. Melissa, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I hope a lot of people learned a lot of things about just going out there and doing it, like just doing it themselves, become your own creator.
I
And
hope so too.
yeah, try to do it. If you're a little bit shy or you don't feel comfortable, just give it a shot. It's you just got to come out of your uncomfort. What is it called? Your comfort zone, and you never know. You're the face of the brand. You're, for the most part, you're the one that's the passionate person about your brand and probably the best person to speak about your brand.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to go out and get somebody to be the face of your brand as well.
Mhm.
But Melissa, thank you so much. And I can't wait to bump into you in some events somewhere around the world.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it, Norm. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. All right, everybody. So thank you for being with us today. This was a pre-record, and we'll be back next week with a live version of Lunch with Norm. Kelsey, anything else to say?
Yes, thanks for watching, everyone. If you have any questions, you can always reach out in the WhatsApp group. Just let us know. And if you have any guest suggestions or topics, you can email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com. We also have a newsletter that goes out every Monday. That's lwn.news, and that goes out every Monday. It's packed with stories from Norm's past, news and updates in the Amazon world and e-commerce world, and recaps of this episode here and many more. So check it out. That's lwn.news, and I think that's it.
All right, everybody. So if you want to be part of the community, as Kelsey was saying, we do have the newsletter, we have the podcast, we have the WhatsApp group, and we have the Facebook group. It's up to you. You can join one or you can join them all. And we also have Marketing Misfits, and that comes out every Tuesday. So that's Kevin King and myself. We have this new podcast, which just highlights some just great marketers from around the world that have succeeded by thinking outside of the box. All right, that's it. We will see you next week. And that's it for today. See you later, guys.
Entrepreneur.